a biomedical doctor and the founder and CEO of the Allied Scholars for Animal Protection. He is amazing. I heard him speak at the AVA Summit and I've just been in love ever since. He is truly an inspiring person. He is also the subject of Farm's Charm article this week, or this month. If you haven't checked our Charm program out, it highlights, it celebrates heroes in the animal rights movement. That's what Charm stands for. So please read more about him. He's gonna come up and tell you some, but I am so excited that he's here. You guys are in for a treat.
Hello everyone. So I went vegan in this city called Lubbock, Texas. It's a cow town. Have you heard of that? Lubbock, Texas? Yeah, someone says yes. So I was very isolated back then. I didn't know any other vegan, and what I always looked forward to was Animal Rights National Conference that Farm and Alex Hershaft organized. I owe a lot of good friendships that I have today to them. So thank you for that. And that's also something that really inspired me to find my voice and become active. Actually, yesterday was my 11th year anniversary of being vegan. Yeah, thank you. I'm still waiting for my arms to fall off and die from protein deficiency. But it's really crazy, right? When you talk about veganism to people, they're worried about iron deficiency and protein deficiency, which really, let's talk about that for a second. Like iron deficiency, right? Iron deficiency is #1 deficiency in the world. It's not even unique to vegans or non-vegans. And also what people don't tell you is that when you actually cook meat, a lot of iron actually precipitates, it becomes unavailable. And when you actually cook or soak beans or other vegetables, you get rid of something called phytate, which releases iron, so iron actually becomes more bioavailable. But if you're ever wondering, if you feel confused about nutrition, just look at hospitals, right? If you go to a hospital right now, am I gonna see people who are suffering from iron deficiency and protein deficiency? Or are hospitals full of people dying from cardiovascular diseases, chronic diseases, cancer, right? So let's do this very quick. How many of you, raise your hand if you know someone who has suffered or lost their lives, unfortunately, due to cancer, cardiovascular diseases, or diabetes? Just look around, right? Almost none of us should have raised our hands. And I really appreciate what you said as well, right? Cardiovascular diseases should not be top cause of death in the US, right? It's almost entirely preventable. Same as diabetes, same as cancers. According to Cancer Research UK, 40% of cancers can be preventable with just, dropping animal products, less sunlight, less alcohol, less tobacco, simple lifestyle changes. But no one talks about that. So I actually started my education with a bachelor in chemical engineering because I really cared about the environment. But then I started getting involved in something called clinic clowning. So I'm from Iran, and clowns are not scary things in Iran, okay? Didn't know that until I came to the US. So when I went to hospitals and played for children suffering from cancer, I really asked myself, what is a better thing that I can do with my life? And that was cancer research. So I started doing cancer research, I got my doctorate, and even after that, I joined a pharmaceutical company to develop new therapeutics and lead clinical trials for infectious diseases, including COVID and influenza, and cancer and other chronic diseases. But I got really tired of working on symptoms of problems, knowing that every disease and environmental issue I ever studied came back to one thing and one thing: animal consumption. Animal consumption. Animal consumption. And I repeat that 3 times because I want to be really clear. The problem is not animal agriculture and factory farming. The problem is animal consumption, right? So be careful when we talk about animal agriculture, is as if we are suggesting that there is a good way to exploit animals and to eat animal consumption, to eat animal products that are healthy or good for the environment. There is not. So, thank you. I know I actually really very much appreciate the fact that it's good to talk about the health benefits and environmental benefits of veganism. But there is a lot of merit in talking about the ethics. So we are in the Pride Month, right? So let's talk about that for a second. So who here identifies as LGBTQ? Oh, come on, we need more gay people. We can do better. But if you know something about me, I was born and raised in Iran, and homosexuality is punishable by death in my home country. And to make matters worse, I was also in a lot of protests against Iran's dictator regime. So in one of the last protests in 2009, I almost got killed because I had a Revolutionary Guard running after me with a machete to kill me. And it was tear gas, so I was running for my life. It was scary. But that really changed my perspective to how I see other forms of oppression. Even like growing up in Iran, the other problem with being gay over there was that I was consistently in denial. So I thought I was mentally ill, maybe, you know, maybe it's not normal, maybe if I have a girlfriend, it'll go away. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But when I came to the US, I finally had an opportunity to come out, and I really appreciate the freedom that this country has given me. But what's crazy is that even though I was always talking about injustice, I almost got killed like trying to protect people, I was the oppressor to another group. Can you guess what other group was? Animals. So it's crazy, I was doing my best. I was really trying to be a good person. But at the same time, I was consuming egg, dairy, animal products, right? So who here either used to or currently consumes egg and dairy? Everybody, right? So it was crazy. I noticed that I'm talking about all these good things, you know, human rights. At the same time, I'm consuming dairy. I don't know if there is any industry that is as abusive as dairy is to members of other species. I mean, literally think about it. You have this whole industry fundamentally based on exploitation of females of other species. The whole idea of dairy is exploiting the reproductive system of dairy cows. And don't be fooled by all these marketing labelings like humanely raised, grass-fed, cage-free, organic. All those animals, all those chickens, cows, everyone, the moment they are no longer profitable for these businesses, we know what happens to them, right? So that's why I think there is a lot of good merit in thinking about this as a form of injustice. The way I also look at it is when I talk to non-vegans, a lot of times they say, hey, vegans say that a chicken or a cow is identical to a human. No one says that. We acknowledge that we have our differences. But we recognize that our differences are not morally relevant to the way that they should be treated, right? So every time in history of humans that we focus on our differences, that's how we justified racism, sexism, speciesism, and you know, I think that resonates with you, Alex, so much as well. Because every time we oppress people, it's because we focus on our differences. I mean, I'm here, you know, I have a different race than you. I have accent you probably don't. I'm gay, you're unfortunately probably not. But we recognize that these differences are not morally relevant to the way we should be treated. As a matter of fact, there are probably people here who don't get this whole gay thing. Like, how can someone be like that? Or you may not even like them. But I think the beauty of this country is that, oh, by the way, I feel exactly the same about straight people, so it's like, ew. But the beauty of this country is that we realize that these differences are not morally relevant to the way we should be treated. The only morally relevant thing is that if you oppress me, I will suffer, and if you stab me, it'll hurt. Apply the same logic to other animals. If you stab me, it hurts. If you stab a cow, it hurts. So I think it's really important to think about the ethical aspect of veganism. And the beauty of it is, if you think about veganism as an ethical issue, you would never cheat, right? How many of you have cheated on your diet before? I have, right? I want to just couldn't resist that cookie or piece of cake. We went for it. But if you think about it as an ethical issue, you will not cheat. When was the last time you were so hungry before going vegan that you ate your companion animal? Probably not, right? I was talking to this guy who said, hey, you know, sometimes going vegan is really hard. I don't have any vegan food in my fridge. The only thing I have is non-vegan food, and I just have to go for it. I said, when was the last time that you were so hungry and you didn't have vegan food in your fridge that you look at your dog and you were like, sorry buddy, time to go. And he laughed. Because it's laughable. When you think about animal rights as a social justice issue, as an ethical issue, no matter how hungry you are, no matter how hard it is, eating that animal is not an option. So that's the beauty of treating veganism as an ethical issue. So I'm going to give you 3 questions that can really inspire you. And if you're not vegan, use these 3 questions to become vegan. And if you're vegan, use these 3 questions to get active. First question. The solutions that we are offering to veganism, do we offer these solutions to any other form of injustice? What do I mean by that? So if someone says, okay, don't worry, I guess veganism is good, I'm gonna think about it. Maybe I reduce. Maybe I start by not eating meat on Mondays. I appreciate that someone wants to try, but do we accept these solutions for any other form of injustice? So if I was beating a child or a dog here right now, right, what would you do? If you tried to stop me and I said, hey man, I'm like 99% there, you know, I'm trying, you know, fine, maybe I don't beat this dog on Mondays. Do you think that's a sound solution? So, I don't say we shouldn't encourage people. I think we should encourage people and help them to transition. But as the final solution, we should not compromise for animals. The second question, is it harder for you to be vegan, or is it harder for animals to get exploited and killed, right? I have friends who are gluten intolerant, soy intolerant, or have allergies to nuts. And I have also a houseless friend who manages to be vegan, right? It's extremely more difficult for them to be vegan than for me. But they manage to do that because they know it's always easier for them to do it than for animals to have their heads chopped off. So, fresh perspective, is it harder for you to give up cheese and dairy? Or is it harder for a cow to be, you know, abused their entire life? The third question, really important. Put yourself in place of animals who are being abused. If it was happening to you, an animal you care about, how urgently would you want that to stop? Raise your hand if you want that to stop immediately, right? So please treat veganism with the same sense of urgency. Just because it's happening behind the door, it doesn't mean that it loses the sense of urgency. I know a lot of you, if you get a phone call right now that your companion animal is in trouble, you would leave right now. You would spend however much you have to make sure those animals are safe and sound. Why do we compromise when it comes to farm animals and other animals, right? So, the last thing I want to say is that going vegan is literally the bare minimum what we can do. So, please go vegan if you haven't gone vegan, and once you go vegan, please speak up. Animal rights is the moral urgency of our time, right? Be kind, be compassionate, but don't compromise. I became vegan because one of my friends one day came to me and said, Faraz, you say you love animals, but you eat them. And I was really upset at her. She said that in the nicest way possible. I still got upset. So notice that no matter how you speak up, people get upset, but they're not upset at you. They're upset at misalignments between their own actions and their own values. And no one will change if they're comfortable. Feeling that discomfort is necessary to change. Let's do a thought experiment. Think about a social leader that you really care about. Any person that you really admire. MLK, Gandhi, Alex Ershaff, whoever, right? Do you like them because these people compromised for the victims, they were wishy-washy, They try to be nice and, appeal to masses. Or do you like them because these people had the courage to speak the truth, to stand up for what was right, and not compromise, and not shut up until abolition of discrimination, violence, and injustice? I don't know about you. For me, it's the latter. So just know that these people are not superhumans. We all have that power inside us. So please find this power and never shut up when it comes to any form of injustice, whether it's to human or non-human animals. So with that, thank you so much for having me. Also, shout out to my friends from NIH who are here. Thank you for that. Know that I'm here. If you're not vegan, find me. I want to help you to go vegan. And if you're vegan already, don't know what to do, come find me. I want to help you. So thank you again for having me.